I know it's not just me who's been wondering, but is Glen Powell a movie star? Hollywood seems to think so let's find out.
Well, I am good, Rooster. I'm very good.
He is very good, but after watching 70% of his movies, 3 episodes of TV, and listening to a serialized fictional podcast about a struggling basketball player, I've come to a conclusion. Powell has a lot of charm, but so far he hasn't shown a lot of range. But that doesn't stop Hollywood from casting him as a movie star, treating him as a movie star, and he just might be a movie star. But what is a movie star? In Adventures in the Trade, screenwriter William Goldman throws around a few definitions. Quote, "A star is someone who opens. When a movie begins its run and no one comes, people in the business will say, it didn't open. A star may not guarantee you a profit, but it will absolutely be a hedge against disaster."
Do you know why nobody's gonna go see that movie?
Can that be quantifiable? Good question. Yes, it can. Possibly the best tool for measuring star power has been Quigley's top 10 box office champions. Sadly, the poll stopped being conducted in 2013, the year Powell failed to make waves in Stuck in Love, as the quote, good-looking frat guy.
I'm not really much of a reader.
What a difference 10 years made. Today, Powell is the top dog at the box office, coming off Twisters, Anyone But You, and Maverick. But to be fair, only Maverick really opened, and that was Tom Cruise's show. So without hard facts, we turn back to William Goldman. Who's a movie star?
Okay, so...
Goldman argues that a movie mogul decides who is a star. It's that simple. But let's put a pin on that. How does stardom happen? Invariably by mistake. One star says no to a role and bam, an unknown jumps at the opportunity. It's a tale as old as Muybridge's horse. So many actors toiled in obscurity for years, even decades, before catching their big break. Brad Pitt spent so much time hanging out in the background of mid-budget movies that casting agents wondered if he simply had one of those blurry faces. It took 10 years for anything in the way of stardom to take shape. It also took 10 years for Harrison Ford to go from Lobby Boy to Han Solo.
It's me.
And that only happened because Al Pacino turned down the role.
We offered Han Solo or Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, I gave Harrison Ford his career.
Oh, I was kind of looking forward to a fight.
Powell too could have been Han Solo. Around 2016, he made it to the final audition, but fell short and the role went to Alden Ehrenreich. This guy. Would Powell have become a star 10 years earlier? Would that it were so simple.
Glen Powell would be lucky to what?
Play a dead body on Bones, if I remember. Is it dead
On
body or CSI? Yeah.
Did somebody really say that to you?
Yes.
And that wasn't too far from the truth. If stardom equals a decade in obscurity, then I have no doubt that Glen Powell is a modern-day Errol Flynn. For starters like Flynn, he has a name that simply does not belong above the title credits.
I'm really sorry about that.
Chris? Yes, that's why there's 7 of them, 7 parts of Lord Voldemort's soul. But Glen? This is a Glen.
Glen.
This is a Glen. Glen.
You merely adopted the dark.
Cut it out, Glen!
Giggity, 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 giggity. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting tang, walla walla bing bang.
A Glen by baptism, a Chad by jawline. And Chads he played for the better part of the 2000s.
Dang!
Small roles in movies, guest spots in TV shows, starring the odd infomercial, appearing as the only hunk with no lines in Brooke Shields' comedy skit, or playing Paul Dano's Echo in Fast Food Nation.
$6,000.
No way.
How many times have you seen somebody buy their McNuggets with a credit card?
Good point.
His first real breakout role was Walt Finnegan in 2016's Everybody Wants Some! 2 exclamation points.
It's a little fucked up!
But it was 1 year earlier that Powell showed the potential for what he would later become, ironically with a character named Chad.
I'm sorry, did you say Chad?
Yes, Chad Radwell, golfer. Very handsome.
Newsflash, I'm hot.
Men plans and Chad laughs.
Everybody wants to get with this Women, men, animals in the zoo, plants probably.
If there's a skill that Glen Powell always had, was his unwavering confidence. It was already there in Spy Kids 3.
Don't get too trashed and I win bonus points.
He played up that confidence for the Chad portion of his career, and he would go on to use it as the base layer of the second part, where he made a living playing government-sanctioned authority figures. But Chad Radwell is in the middle. The character is a comment on a stereotypical alpha male, attractive, successful, muscular, cocky, and popular among women.
Just so we're clear, I only caught this kiss, so I could throw it away.
The deconstruction seemingly opened the eyes of casting directors, and more diverse roles started popping up. Roles like Walt Finnegan.
Dr. Finnegan, so Epicurean, indulge in the BMOC. There's only one thing bigger than my IQ, and it stops around my knee.
But, you know, he's a little dickish. You're there, he's a freshman like you. He tells them to buzz off, you know, but you're like the cool guy. I don't know, Finn is the best character because he's just so...
Powell showed some real pathos, a little range, a ton of charisma, but does he have it? It as an indefinable quality that sets him apart from someone who never got a chance at stardom, say Tom Hopper, his clone?
Same thing.
Or Taylor Kitsch or Sam Worthington, handsome, charismatic leading men who were given the wheel of multi-million-dollar blockbusters but crashed them? I know Brad Pitt has it. Harrison Ford still has it. Humphrey Bogart had it in spades. But does Glen Powell have it?
I don't know what is real and what is not.
Oh, do you know who had it? Montgomery Clift. What's up with these names? Clift had it big time. Burt Lancaster, who also had it, tells a story of his first encounters with Clift in From Here to Eternity. You know, that film that Frank Sinatra got because of his mob connections? You know, the one that inspired the horse's head scene? Well, that's for another video. Burt Lancaster acted against Montgomery in the film. He said, "The only time I was ever really afraid as an actor was that first scene with Clift.
What do you think you're doing?
It was my scene, understand. I was the sergeant. I give the orders.
I heard about you.
I heard about you too, Sergeant."
I couldn't stop my knees from shaking. I thought they might have to stop because my trembling would show. I'd never worked with an actor with Clift's power before. I was afraid he was going to blow me right off the screen. But was Clift the star? Lancaster was. Twice he was listed as one of the more bankable stars in Hollywood.
Hello.
Not Clift. Why is that? Clift refused the lead part in Sunset Boulevard, East of Eden, Somebody Up There Likes Me, and On the Waterfront. Choices. And by God, does Glen Powell make the right ones? One perfect choice after another.
Stop.
He wanted to be Rooster in Top Gun. But when Miles Teller got the part and Cruise just wanted him for the sidekick role of Slayer, Powell, at a point where he had very little power in Hollywood, turned it down. Imagine that.
This guy needs an ego check.
Then Cruise convinced Powell to play the role but changed it completely to fit Powell's qualities. He changed it into a career-making role.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your savior speaking. Please fasten your seatbelts, return your tray tables to their locked and upright positions.
It's not like Taylor Kitsch or Sam Worthington didn't have it exactly. They simply said yes to the wrong movies.
You know I'm right.
So back to the question. Does Glen Powell have it? Personally, I don't think so.
The opinions and views expressed by Luís Azevedo are solely his own and do not necessarily represent or reflect the official positions, policies, or opinions of Little White Lies.
Okay, I did it. What now?
I think he's a fine actor with a lot of charm who can play smarmy characters like few others.
Okay.
But a movie star?
Nope.
But I also never bought Chris Pratt, Horcrux number 4, as a movie star. But if you look at the numbers, he has something. It's just that the concept of a movie star has changed. Sonny Bunch puts it perfectly. Quote, "The entire idea of the movie star is a generation or 3 out of date. Hollywood isn't creating new lead performers who can woo people to the big screen. New stars aren't being made because the big screen isn't populated by star vehicles any longer. It's populated by brands and franchises and sequels and spin-offs, in which the title or the concept is the reason to see the movie. and every major young talent is subsumed within them.
Good point.
Glen Powell has just tried the hardest for the longest time to become something that no longer exists. And he's succeeding.
Exactly like that.
His co-stars love him.
You're just the best dude. He makes everything fun, everything lighthearted. If ever there's tension or...
The stories of how great he is could feel like 3 autobiographies. He invited his kindergarten teacher to the premiere of Hitman. Richard Linklater laughs at the idea of a Too Good to Be True Powell because it's all true. Quote, I tell him, Glenn, we need a good, healthy scandal. Spoiler alert, the scandal is not coming. Studios, perhaps more than ever, are the ones who choose who's a movie star, and they've been burned one too many times. Watching 2022's Devotion, it seemed clear to me who the star was.
You know how tired I am of people trying to help me while looking down on me?
I am not looking down on you.
In most scenes with Jonathan Majors, I imagine Powell would have felt exactly like Burt Lancaster in From Here to Eternity. Could Majors have been a star? Or Armie Hammer? It's possible, but when an actor turns out to be a villain in real life, there are incredible financial repercussions. Studios are risk-adverse, and a star like Powell is risk-proof, vetted by just about everyone. Majors and Hammer are extreme cases, but Hollywood stars have always been known to have checkered pasts. In a world of safe bets, would you take a chance on someone who was detained for carrying a concealed weapon, or someone who took their kindergarten teacher to a film premiere? If movie moguls will continue to decide who's a movie star, we just have to strap in for a new era of Blaine Pitts and Vanilla Bogarts.
From glen to glen and down the mountainside. From glen to glen and down the mountainside.
From glen to glen and down the mountainside. To Glen and down the mountainside.